All right, Bennett, thanks for joining me today.
Glad to be here.
So this is a new series, and I'm really excited to do this. So we'll do one a month, and it's where the coaches are going to get the opportunity to educate our members or our audience, but really our members here at the gym on a topic or subject that they feel that they can share knowledge on, kind of enlighten people in. And so you've chosen the topic of injuries, and we'll be, next month, you'll come back and we'll actually interview again in July with a new topic, right? And so all the coaches will have a featured month. Next month is Jacob, and this will be something that will be really neat because members can learn about hopefully something that they've been wondering about, but also learn something from their coach that maybe they didn't know the coach was an expert in. And so give me a little bit about why you chose this topic of injuries.
Well, injuries are definitely like kind of a highlight of my exercise life, I would say. Like I really enjoyed exercise like growing up. Like I did sports. I didn't really know how to work out or anything, but I didn't intentionally work out. It was more like it was just the activity of doing the sport that was fun to me, just being with your friends and running around. Like you got exercise by itself, but like so then when I played football, as I got older, I went to high school and we started lifting weights, and I thought that was really fun, but it didn't really, wasn't like, I never thought I would do it for a living or anything. But when I hurt my back, so I think it was like 10th grade or something, I broke my back in football, and that was when I started really loving lifting weights too. And so that kind of put a stop to it, and that made me realize, I was like, man, I really hate not being able to exercise and have the freedom to run around and do everything without hurting.
So for you, you realized this because it was a personal experience.
Yeah.
You had a major setback.
It was a huge,
So what injuries do you have?
So I broke my back twice. So the first time was in high school, and that made me realize, I was like, okay, I can't, I did not enjoy not being able to move. I was like, this is a hindrance, like I can't even get up to go pee without hurting now. So, and then I noticed that exercise actually helped me rehab it too at the same time. So it was like you kind of need some kind of movement to build through those exercises, or through the pain and like the actual injury. So I broke my back that time, and coming back from it was pretty decently fast, like 6 months, because it was the first time I injured it, and I didn't really have any injuries then other than like my knees and stuff, but my knees don't even bother me anymore at all. But as I kind of kept going with my career and started personal training, I realized, I was like, wow, everyone, this exercise is such a huge key part to success in just in life in general.
So how did these injuries affect your life and your, I think even your business, right? Because you were personal training at Gold's when you hurt yourself the second time?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you were kind of already in the business of personal training. So how did the injuries affect your life and your business?
Well, like when I hurt it the second time, that's when I really realized, I was like, okay, I hurt myself, I'm set back, I can't do these things. And it took me a lot longer the second time to come back. Like it still hurts. Like it hurts right now sitting in this chair. Like my back just, if I do something, it's all about posture. So when I started realizing these things, I was like, man, this is making me a better trainer, because I'm realizing most other people have a similar issue. It's like, it doesn't have to be sports that hurts it. I hurt mine in gymnastics the second time. But like some people you just hurt yourself, walking down the street. Like you just hurt yourself anywhere. And I've noticed in my business, like when I take people, or like when I first meet with people and, have kind of take them through like a screen program just to see how they move. Like most people have some kind of pain, and that I started latching on. I was like, okay, well, I've been through back pain. Back pain's pretty common. So I started helping people. Like,
so it kind of helped you.
Yeah,
it helped you in your profession of personal training.
And made me love personal training more, because now it's like, okay, well, I have a purpose now. It's not just like, okay, I'm doing this. This is a good job for me while I'm in college.
Yeah. What would you say is the percentage, or how many people that you start working with actually have injuries?
it's almost rare. It's more rare to find somebody that doesn't have pain at all.
Yeah, so on average, anybody listening to this podcast has some level of discomfort.
Probably 80 to 90% of people have some kind of discomfort. Would you even
say limited range of motion or mobility would be an injury? Or would you call that just, lack of mobility?
I would say that's just lack of movement, because it can cause an injury for sure. Doesn't mean they are injured yet, but they will experience pain. Like if you have limited range of motion, you are for sure experiencing pain. Like when you try to move around, like you try to bend over and tie your shoe with without taking a knee. It's like,
So you're saying that about 80 to 90, or a large percentage of people that you meet with, have some form of pain.
Pain. I would say pain. And injury is probably maybe half.
What are some common pains that you hear about?
I notice lower back tightness. So it usually comes from like the hamstrings, or anything in the back of the leg, like calves, hamstrings, glutes. All that stuff can be knotted up because it's so tight. Because usually they're weak and tight muscles. Because usually a tight muscle is a weak muscle. So it's just, from sitting, the hamstring shortens and everything shortens because we sit so much.
Yeah.
So when you stand up and you start moving and you stretch, you allow that full range of motion of the muscle. So the muscle can stretch as much as it needs to do the task, do whatever task that you want your body to do. And so if you're limited, if you don't move very much, it's going to be painful to try to to stretch at first and to move your body just, how it's supposed to.
So what would you say is the best way to heal from an injury?
I think if you're experiencing more of along the lines of any kind of pain, any kind of injury is going to require a good warm up, because you can't just go straight into exercise and expect yourself to perform well and to not hurt. So it's I feel like even if you've kind of recovered from an injury, you are still kind of burdened to that same warm-up and task that you were doing to heal it. So it's now you're doing it for preventative purpose and not even just, okay, I need to heal this injury and do this warm-up. It's now it's okay, I'm so scared. If I don't do it, I still feel it.
I'll say this. Oftentimes when I share with people about joining the gym or, being a part of our community, one of the favorite things we do is, in my opinion, is warm up. That's one of my favorite things. I think the warm up is so valuable.
That's the key.
Even in especially in personal training, how we warm up our clients, but even in the CrossFit classes, and even speaking to people listening, how that they should be very intentional about doing those warm ups fully.
Yes,
and properly,
and not skipping it.
Yeah,
I need to skip the warm up.
Yeah,
you're missing the point.
And sometimes, and I'm guilty of this, so it's good for me to say it, but not committing fully to the stretching, committing fully to the movement. We'll call it going through the motions.
Yep.
So a good way that something you're suggesting is just to really do a thorough warm up.
Yep, 100%.
What about what's another way to heal from injuries? Or
sleep, for sure. That's something I experienced too and play around with. Is sleep has never been my best aspect of having a better fitness. It just never has. But lately, I've been sleeping more. I've been sleeping at least 6 to 7 hours instead of just 5 or 6, 4 or 5, 6 hours.
And you can tell a difference.
Oh, huge difference. My body hurts less. I'm hitting numbers again. All my exercises are getting stronger.
Now I know this is not a specific podcast on sleep,
of course,
which would be another cool podcast to do. Maybe that'll be your July.
You can literally do that for 30 minutes. No problem.
But give me a little bit of kind of tips on things that you've done to get better sleep, or to if somebody's listening, what are some things they can do to ensure that they're sleeping enough?
Well, I think avoiding mental distractions too, because even if you give yourself the appropriate amount of time, that's part of success of sleep too, is making time. You can't just say, well, I'll find time. It's no, you got to literally move your schedule around. You might sometimes have to sacrifice some work spots. You have to make the time, as soon as you get home, you need to eat, shower. That might be what you have to do, is just go straight to sleep. Like make sure you get your at least 6 to 7.
Your kids in their room and
just boom. Yeah. You're good.
Well, no, it's so true though. I don't watch TV at night. We just don't. But here's something I found out, and you can probably speak to this because it's kind of going in line with what you're saying. So on average, we'll be in bed, probably by 9 o'clock, 8:30 to 9 o'clock. And on a Friday or Saturday, we may venture into a movie, right? Like got the kids down, and why not, right? It's a weekend.
Yep.
But here's the deal. Anytime you watch TV, you're essentially trading that time for sleep.
Yep.
So if you watch, if your goal is to get 8 hours a night of sleep and you watch 2 hours of TV, now you got 6 hours of sleep.
Yep.
You just traded 2 hours of sleep for TV.
Yep, and then you complain about being tired, but we can't.
Yes.
It's like you're not allowed to complain about being tired.
And I realize, sometimes I feel like I'm an alien living on a planet because I don't know what's going on like all the shows and the series. And I remember one time we watched a bunch of we were watching one of the Netflix series, and I think we watched like 3 or 4 in a row. And I go, babe, what? I don't like this. Like it just automatically turns on another show, and then I'm sucked in, and now I watch another one, 3 or 4 shows later. She goes, "Yeah, babe, this is what everybody does." But it's so true, right? Like
it's the normal world.
Yeah, that's right. But sleep is truly when your body's at rest.
Yep. TV is not.
Yes, TV is not. And
well, for me it is. When you put a show on, I'm out.
You're out. Yeah. So if you're not sleeping. And I would think like a good tip for most people is just track it. Yep. That's pretty eye-opening.
That's where the Whoop and
if you have a Whoop or the Garmin watch or the Apple Watch, if you just
important.
start tracking, like when we had that 1 month of tracking sleep, it was like a little challenge with the coaches. That was really eye-opening.
Yeah.
Because then you get to see all your consecutive nights like, oh man, like, oh, I did really bad that week.
And it's a lot of effort to have good sleep, just like how it's a lot of effort to make sure you not miss a workout.
That's right.
How you not miss your meals, and because it's a lot of work. Being fit is a lot of work. It's a full-time job.
Yes. So kind of So warm up, like really good warm up, and probably for people at this gym is just really fully immersing yourself into the warm up.
Don't think, oh well, I'm running late, I'm just gonna skip the warm-ups. Like even like when me as a coach, if I have someone walk through the door, they're doing the warm-up. I don't care. They're if we're in the middle of the workout, I'm sorry, I have the workout I have the warm-up on the board. You're just gonna miss some of the workout.
Yes.
Like that's how I run my class.
Yes.
Like if you're not just gonna be allowed to come in and just go straight to squats and working up heavy. It's like
that's right.
You're going to hurt yourself
and it's
on
not,
my watch.
I get it. People run late. What you just described is exactly what happened. I had a group personal training, and one of the people was late. Same thing. They just delayed the start of their workout. And I put them through the same warm up.
Yep, exactly.
And it's not bad. I get it. You're running late. I was 15 minutes late to the 8 o'clock class this morning, and I did the same thing. But I know how to self manage.
Of course.
My warm up, and I know I can't go straight into a 1 rep max. Clean and jerk.
You've been doing this for 20 years.
Without a warm-up. So, but everybody needs to know that they don't need to just jump into the workout.
Yep.
Okay, sleep, number 2. What other ways would be the most either way to prevent injuries or to heal from injuries?
So you have the warm-ups. That's key. You have the sleep. That helps a lot. Food, of course, that kind of, we don't need to talk about food. I'm sure one of the coaches is going to love to talk about nutrition. So I don't need to go there, but of course that's a big aspect. Mm-hmm. But I think another one is stretching. So that's actually not just warm up. Warm up is more dynamic,
different
right?
From stretching.
It's like cardio. You want to do like 5-10 minutes of cardio, then you want to do your dynamic stretching, like loosen up your hamstrings a little. You don't want to do static stuff yet, but static stretching at the end of a workout or
and just for
before
people,
bed.
Static meaning you're standing still. You're holding the position in
holding a stretch. Now, you don't want to do
like
that
a couch stretch for a minute or 90 seconds.
Exactly, like a long time, like a minute each stretch, like a minute each side. So it's a long time. It's like, but if you spend 5 to 10 minutes on it at nighttime before bed, I just do it in my bed. Like while I read, so I've been making myself read, which also helps my sleep. So I take my phone away and I just put a light on my room. It's pretty dark, but that way it's not really affecting my ability to go fall asleep. As soon as I'm done, I know when I'm tired, I'll put my book down and I have great sleep, go to sleep immediately. So that helps. But then now also I've added stretching. So right before I start reading, I'll just stretch for like
So
5
you're
10 minutes.
suggesting stretching at a completely different time of
Yes.
day,
At nighttime.
nighttime.
Before bed. 'Cause
Okay.
now it's going to help your sleep, because not only has my lower back hurt from sitting, like when I'm sitting in a chair or if I move, sometimes if I exercise wrong, I don't warm up, but now it hurts my sleep. Sleep's a huge one.
And where? Okay, so I'm asking as if I'm somebody listening. Where can I find? What are the stretches to do? You know, am I talking about 10 minutes of stretching? Am I talking about 30 minutes of
It
stretching?
could literally be so simple. So like one of my favorite routines is I don't know if anyone knows this, but the Spider-Man lunge, where you put one leg up. It's kind of like doing if you're doing a burpee and you're just stepping up. So you're in a push-up position. You bring one foot,
Like a lunge, a right leg lunge. Big lunge.
I call it like a mobility lunge or
Lunge
something.
stretch.
And then you just kind of chill in that stretch. You bring your foot up. It's stretching your groin and like your hamstring and your hip and your glutes. And then also you can twist your torso a little bit, like as you're holding that stretch, and that'll get a little bit of your lower back. And so you can hold that each side for a minute. And now if you're going for the splits, you do the exact same position, but now you just extend your foot out to get your hamstring. Mm-hmm. So that's like a limited range of motion split. You know, like people in gymnastics do the splits.
Yeah, so what I like that you're saying, because sometimes we overcomplicate it.
Yes.
You know, I know there's GoWOD or ROMWOD.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be a perfect program for
okay,
stretching.
and that's kind of where I was going, is because I think sometimes that can immediately turn people off. Like, now I got to download an app.
Yep. Nope.
I got to watch a video. I got to sit there. But what you're saying is it can literally be like maybe you ask your coach, I need
Easily,
like one or
please come
two
ask us.
go-to. Yes, please come ask us. Right, 1 or 2 go-to stretches that I can do. And you know what I think? It could even be something that like for the quarter, right? For like 90 days, this is just your stretch.
Yep.
You know, it could
It could
literally
be the
if you
same
do couch
3.
stretch.
Yeah, couch stretch every day.
Every day, like 90 seconds right leg, 90 seconds left leg, 2 sets.
Yep.
That's 6 minutes.
Boom, you did something. Like you did it, boom.
Your squats,
It's going to feel so much better.
deadlifts, your body would feel so good for 6 minutes a day. And then, quarter 2, Spider-Man stretch, quarter 3, it could be up dog, like down dog, child's pose. Yeah, something. So I love that, because it's like, and then again, if you don't do it every day, 3 days a week's better than 0.
Yes. Every other day is especially if you stretch hard. Like when I was going for the splits,
yeah,
I can't really do it as much now. I kind of let myself go on that just because I've been so excited to do this weightlifting. But I think now is a good time for me to go back to it, because I went through a period of time where when I was hurt, I just couldn't do anything.
Yeah.
What else could I do other than I stretched every other day really hard?
Yeah.
And I got super flexible. So that was one way.
So if somebody experiences injury, right? Because what I like to tell people is like, look, we never want to get hurt. I don't ever want to get hurt.
Yep.
Just like I don't ever want to get in a car accident.
Yeah, you don't want to, but
sometimes it
it's
happens.
coming.
Yeah,
your time is coming.
Sometimes it happens, right? And so I agree with you. Sometimes in times that I've gotten hurt, it's made me a better trainer, and it's kind of helped me to understand my body. Mm-hmm. And so, what is the protocol in that moment?
Like right when you get hurt.
Yeah, when my knee
Yep.
or shoulder or low back, in the moment, what do you think? Give me kind of like, what's the action plan?
Well, immediately, like especially if it happens during a workout, it's like actually listen to it and don't feel like you're being a wimp for stopping a workout. You're like, oh, my back hurts right now. Wow, what did I do? Like a deadlift, where you get tired and you round your back on a deadlift, or like say you're doing a pull up or a kipping pull up or a bench press. I tore my shoulder in the bench press. So if you're doing something like that or overhead, it can happen anywhere. But feel something, like listen to it. Your body is pretty vulgar. Like it does want to wimp out a lot. It does. Like we know, go do. Let's come Murph Day comes around. Oh, we're all crying, but it's like an injury is different. It's sharp pain. It's like it restricts your motion. You'll know. It's different.
Not tired.
It's different. It's not tired.
It's not just exhausted. You're right.
No.
And I'll say to that, I've done it both of these ways. I've learned that one is better. The first way I've done it is to stop and kind of say, oh man, something's not right, and keep going. And the other way I've done it is stopped and been done. And the second way is way better.
It's not glorious, but
It's because here's what I think. I think every rep after an injury is costing you 200% of recovery.
yeah,
It's like costing you another 2 days of rest, right? So it's like if you stop, you might just be out 1 or 2 days.
Yep.
You do another rep, you might be out 3 or 4 days. You do another rep, you might be out 4 or 5 days.
Like,
you finish the workout, you might be out 3 weeks.
especially like you're going, you're doing deadlifts instead of 10 deadlifts, and you start hurting on 5. You're like, man, my back really hurts right now.
Yeah.
Nobody else is stopping. Like,
Yeah.
like no, don't keep.
Yeah, and flag down a coach.
Yeah, immediately. It's like, what? Why? Like, you can take an L for one day or for that week and be like, ooh, my back is just kind of tender. Instead of, oh, wow, it really hurts now. And then it hurts the week after. And then,
Yeah.
now you have to go get an MRI. And
Okay, so talk about seeking professional guidance, right? So obviously the coach is your first point of reference if you're in the class. Hey, Bennett, I just tweaked something, or hey, Robert, whoever it is. Who's the next person if the injury's still there? I mean, where do they go from that point?
Well, I think it's always wise to go to like a sports specific. Of course, like, we're not doctors, so we can't we can't prescribe them like or tell them exactly, hey, this is what's going wrong with you.
Yeah.
So what we could do is have a good guess and a good typically I could figure out what's causing the pain. Like, I'm pretty good with finding out what caused it and why it's hurting. But like, usually a good step, like, to make sure it's not like really seriously damaged, because if it's just kind of lingering, I don't think you need to go to the doctor. Like, I think there's ways we can exercise it and it'll be fine.
How
if
do
it's
you
like
know?
Sharp pain,
and this is
you can't move it.
Okay, that's what I was going to say is like, okay, how do I know if it's something that's serious enough to go and get professional help, or if it's something I need to kind of muscle through?
Because if it's something small, and you would know the difference. Like, if it's like when I tore my shoulder, I knew immediately. I was like, oh, that's not good. I felt it on the rep. It hurt for immediately, and it was just sharp pain. I could barely open my arm. Because usually when you have a torn rotator cuff is when you can't externally rotate very well. Mm-hmm. And all this motion of just moving my hand back and forth, super painful.
A friend of mine, Troy Barnes, he's an Arasti doctor, and he told me one time it was really good because I go see him if if I feel something really sharp. And he goes, usually like on a 1 to 10, if it's 5 or below, it's probably something that will go away.
You can handle it, yeah.
But if it's a 6 and higher than that, and it's it hasn't gone away in 2 or 3 days, then it's probably something that's going to hang that you need to go have somebody look at.
Yeah,
because most people can use that scale on on a 1 to 10. 10 is the worst pain you've ever experienced. Yes. 1 is like nothing.
Yeah,
but it's there. What is the pain? And then if the pain is like, I use that all the time, right? On a 1 to 10.
It's a good thing.
And it might be like, it's a 3 or 4. Now I know in my brain, I'm like, okay, it's probably not that serious. I still, it doesn't mean I neglect it.
Yep.
I mean, it just happened yesterday with somebody I was training with. And of course I texted him last night and he's like, it's going to be fine. But if somebody I ask is like 6, 7, 8, 9, then I'm kind of more like on alert, and I'm like, okay, we might want to. And then if the next day it's still there, we might actually want to come back. Yes. And we might actually want to say, hey, go see somebody. Go have somebody take a look at it, just to be certain. Right?
Yeah, because that's where the doctor comes in. Someone like you go to Alpha Sports or someone who deals with sports injuries directly. Because I think they have a better understanding of what to do immediately, because like if you don't go to a sports specific doctor, they're typically more inclined to tell you to rest and to stop doing stuff, because they don't really, that's not their area of expertise. They help with in a completely different area. So you want to go to more of like any kind of weightlifting or sport, like even if it's like a football or soccer doctors,
and I
they
think
will
too,
have a good idea.
Having building a relationship with somebody in that career, in that whether it's called like a physical therapist or a chiropractor or sports doctor, somebody of that nature, somebody who's in that career, and if you can build a really solid relationship, meaning they know what let's say you're a runner. and you run marathons, and they just know you as an athlete.
Yep.
Like they know, okay, this person runs a lot. Okay, this foot injury or these knees or this.
They can piece it together. A lot
Yeah,
easier.
it's like a trainer. You
Yeah.
know, it's like if you have an athletic trainer, right? And what I found too is when you have somebody like that, and you have your personal trainer, and there's
That's
kind
a
of this
good relationship.
It's a
It's
network,
great.
right? Like,
Yep.
if you're the CEO of your health business, right? So Bennett is the CEO of his health and
a good way to
lifestyle
put it. Yep.
business, right? So you want to have a chief injury
Yep.
professional,
You
a
need
chief
you need
fitness
people.
professional, a chief nutrition professional, and you want to have this great organizational chart that you can go to when you need assistance and support in some of these areas. And the longer you do something, like for me, I've been building great relationships with different people in different careers to help support, whether it's my fitness
Yep.
or my nutrition,
I wholeheartly agree with that, especially
Yeah.
because you need that specialist in that area, because us as personal trainers, we specialize in you can't really call it rehab, but injury prevention and knowing how, or I would say more on the prevention side, but also kind of on the tail end of the rehab portion of an injury. So it's you go, if it's really injured, if you feel you tore something or you broke a bone or something, you go, or you're, sprained an ankle or in ACL, something, go to the doctor, have them make sure that it's okay. They'll clear you for exercise. That is where we come in.
Well, and it's you bring up a good point. It's kind of, we know our lane.
Yes.
And if we had somebody come in and said, look, I want to win nationals in tennis, and I want, to hire a coach, the first question I would make sure and ask is, do you have a tennis coach?
Yes.
We're not tennis coaches.
Because I can't teach you tennis,
Yeah.
but I can show you how to lift the barbell.
That's right. We can get you fit.
Yep.
And we can get you strong.
I can make sure you can run a mile
That's right.
faster than anybody
and we can
else.
Get you in shape, and we can support your tennis coaches.
Yes.
But when it comes to actually, teaching you and working on the skills that are necessary in that sport, and it's the same thing, right? Like there's people that have been spending as many years as we've been spending on fitness and nutrition and strength and conditioning. There's people who've been spending that much time on injuries and prevention and treatment and how to recover faster and rehab that, we can support, but in reality, you need to have somebody that you can find.
Yep. And I think it's even good to follow people on social media.
Oh,
Squat University, for example. He's made a big name for himself, but I think what he brings to the table it's just good information. He's good. I think it supports the sports chiropractor and physical therapy side. So I think it's so important for people to go learn about their body. That way, when they come to see us, they have a good understanding of, okay, this is what's wrong. This is what the doctor said. Then I know immediately what to do after that. Yeah. So I think having, if you have an injury, definitely go see a doctor, get an idea. And then that gives me so much more information to know how to help you, because that's not our spot. We can't say, hey, this is torn in this area.
Right.
I can give you a general idea of what's going on. Typically, I can let you know if you have to go to the doctor. So if you're a member listening, I think you should definitely come talk to us first, especially if it's definitely let us know that you're hurting, but then we can give you an idea of where to go.
Yeah.
Because if it's just something, typically I can let you know if, okay, hey, that's something serious, you need to go somewhere. And then, or if it's something tiny, hey, my shoulder kind of hurts from doing that overhead press, what do you think's wrong with it? It's it's probably just you're not using your core enough, simple things like that we can typically fix here at the gym. But
this is great, Bennett, man. Thank you so much.
Of course.
You led the way for the coaches. So this is our first coaches educational podcast. And next month we'll feature Jacob. And I'm really excited about the topic he's chosen to share. So,
well, awesome. Thanks for having me.
Thanks, bro.
All right.
See ya.